This video is sponsored by Xavi. The wildlife of Hyrule seen in Breath of the Wild is for the most part alive. Now, whilst you'd think that's obvious, I mean this in the sense that the world has a living and breathing ecosystem and land of various species that inhabit the land, whereas past iterations of the kingdom really lacked this wildlife. It's quite literally in the name of the game, Breath of the Wild. Whether you notice it or not, this game has the most in-depth and amazing wildlife ever seen in the series, but this elegant and wild wildlife had a much different past. We see all over Hyrule massive skulls riddled with bokoblins, gigantic rib cages piercing through the land, daunting footprints planted into the rock of Death Mountain, and so much more. Like our own world and wildlife, Hyrule's has a past of much larger and potentially much more deadly creatures that ruled the land prior to us, and I thought it would make a fun and interesting video to go over some of these beasts and brutes of the past to take a look at how they could have shaped the land of Hyrule millennia upon millennia ago. Be sure to go grab yourself a snack or drink and show me those delightful 3-course meals of a snack on my social media, and let's go back in time to take a look at the terrifying beasts of Hyrule's past. One of the most iconic and often viewed as godlike creatures in the Zelda series is dragons. From the majestic deities such as Skyward Sword's dragons, to the more ferocious flying lizards like Volvagia and Argorok, these beasts are nothing new to Hyrule. But in the era of the wild are only briefly seen in the form of 3 spirits, only visible to a few individuals such as Link, and those of a pure heart. Although, there were once many more than Farosh, Dinral and Naydra. In a few locations across Hyrule we can find the remains of dragons, typically found in the form of a large spine and or ribcage half buried into the ground, the most notable location being Dragonbone Mire. Given the name, it's safe to assume that this is the remains of a dragon. Just looking at the sheer size of its ribcage and spine would indicate that these dragons of the past were massive. Comparing it to the likes of Farosh, the remains of this dragon belong to a different kind, a more bulky and likely predator beast that claimed its own land, almost like a nesting ground, which is likely what Dragonbone Mire once was, looking at its structure and location. A nice little secluded area with a swampy base. These monsters were likely a rare sight due to their predatory nature, but one that the average Hylian traveller would stand little chance against. The most well-known and arguably now iconic remains found in Breath of the Wild are the giant skulls found literally everywhere that are now inhabited by bokoblins, Lizalfos and various other enemies. These skulls are, well, huge, meaning the corresponding bodies to these skulls were also huge, but what exactly were they? My favourite of these giant skulls is the one found shattered into the woodland tower, possibly indicating that they belong to some sort of creature with mammoth strength, maybe even being able to climb these towers long ago. One theory on what they are actually comes from my great friend MaskedNintendoBandit, who theorised that they could come from the same line as Big Goron from Ocarina of Time, but I'll let you guys check out his video on that for a more in-depth look at it. It's super interesting, so be sure to check it out. That theory would also explain why they can be found in the lava-filled pits of Death Mountain, as well as the rest of Hyrule. If not that, my other theory would be that these belong to some sort of giant, similar to the Hinox but much larger and, you know, with 2 eyes. Regardless of if these skulls belong to the same kind of Goron as Big Goron, or if it was a giant of the land, it certainly shows that there was once some huge creatures that roamed the land, and going off how many of them we see all over Hyrule, these creatures must have been incredibly common, which is very frightening considering the size of them and the size of an average Hylian. Before getting into the next creature, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Xavi. Don't know what Xavi is? Well, allow me to show you. Xavi is an awesome pop culture store, and not just your average one. They cover so many different video games, movies, TV series, and of course, Zelda. The incredibly kind folks over at Xavi reached out to me to check out some of their stuff and do an unboxing / review for you guys, so let's see what they have. Being the Zelda fanatic I am, I'm definitely getting some new shirts. I can't get enough of them. There is such a wide variety of designs, which is honestly really cool and something I struggle to find elsewhere. Oh wow, that's a cool mug. Yo, a Zelda puzzle? A Zelda figurine? Yes please. Folks, there is so much awesome stuff here, and it's not just Zelda. I also love stuff like Jurassic Park, Mario, Star Wars, and Xavi has it all. I can't wait for these products to arrive. Whoa, that arrived quick, thanks to a little movie magic. But seriously, this didn't take long at all to arrive, so let's open up the box. So in total I got myself around 5, 6, maybe 7 items. I got the little Triforce ornament as you saw, the awesome Zelda figurine, the heart container mug, a little light up bottle, and a Link to the Past poster which is really dope, and of course my Jurassic Park hat. This is my first time ever having to film something for a video, so I apologise if it's a bit rough around the edges, but you can see the quality from here. Xavi offers some amazing products, and I definitely recommend you guys check them out. Look at it. It's immaculate, amazing. I can't recommend Xavi enough. If you'd like to get some Xavi products for yourself, be sure to use the code Hyrule10 for 10% off store-wide purchases, and Hyrule20 for 20% off any clothing purchases. I've linked the Xavi site below if you want to check it out after the video. The Gerudo Desert is one of the most beautiful, but also deadly locations in Hyrule. It can be a spectacular sight to behold, but within the sandy dunes of the desert lie Lizalfos, Molduga, and the most deadly of them all, the desert itself. The sheer heat during the day and freezing point at night is enough alone to take out any traveller not prepared. Even the hero himself struggles in these conditions, but there was possibly something much more threatening in the past. We see across the desert a lot of remains, notably one of the 3 Leviathan skeletons, but we will touch on that shortly. The remains I want to look at are these. They hold a strong resemblance to the previously mentioned dragon remains, but on a much larger scale. There is a chance these are the same creature, but due to the fact that they are typically half buried into the ground, we can't get a good enough look to really definitively define them. The main reason I believe these desert titans to be different is because none of them are located in an area named as a dragon location, and they are very common across the Gerudo Desert. This makes me think the bones located at Dragon Ball Mire are one of very few, thus explaining the location's name. Knowing the current largest predator of the desert, the Molduga, and the DLC enemy, the Moldeking, I think it's possible that these titan-sized remains belong to a now extinct member of the Molduga family that was much larger than the Moldeking. Perhaps it could have been called the Moldamega or Mega Molduga, but that's purely just my ideas. This pick is rather speculative, so take it with a grain of salt. It's a bit unclear what these could have been, but whatever they were, I would not want to be walking through the desert with these lurking below me in the sand. One of the most underrated side quests in Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, is the Leviathan Bones side quest, where Link must seek out all 3 Leviathan remains and take a photo of them with his Sheikah Slate to show 3 Theorist brothers who reside at the Serene Stable, but it's these remains themselves that are interesting. Without a shadow of the doubt, the most well-known remains in Breath of the Wild, as multiple creators have covered them in their own theories, but yet they are one of the most mysterious. They are the only large set of remains that can be found fully intact, which is actually very daunting as we get an idea of just how large these creatures would have been. We do see Leviathans elsewhere in the series, but these 3 in Breath of the Wild appear to be much larger. There is no solid indication as to how they went extinct, as each of the 3 theorists has their own theory, but just knowing multiple creatures of this size once roamed Hyrule is terrifying. Thankfully, Leviathans in the Zelda series are known to be friendly creatures that mean no harm, but it would certainly make anyone in Hyrule feel small, and probably a bit intimidated if they saw one of these flying over their head. It's also really cool just knowing that stuff like Leviathans once were active and live around the land of Hyrule. We don't know when, but we certainly know they once did. Overall, I think it's fair to say that in a time long forgotten, now potentially further back than the original Calamity, the Kingdom of Hyrule was inhabited by much larger and deadlier creatures, likely more than just the ones mentioned on this list, such as Dodongos. The ancient land of Hyrule was likely not too far off how our land once was, long ago. Thanks for checking out the video, I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Zelda content. Remember to go and check out Xavi with my codes Hyrule10 for all store purchases, and Hyrule20 for all clothing purchases. What do you think about the past wildlife of Hyrule? Was it ruled by giant monsters in similar fashion to how dinosaurs once ruled our land? Leave a comment below with your thoughts and let's get a discussion going. Special thanks to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for your incredibly generous support to the channel. You make my day and really help me make these videos as often as possible to the highest quality possible. So thank you all so much, and special mention to new patrons Kelsey Grow, Puppet of Fate, Patrick Vest and Twilight Wolfo. If you'd like to join them and support the channel, then check out the links in the top right or link in the description. Again, thanks for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.